Hello and welcome back to Risa's Attic. I want to say thank you to all my new subscribers. It's truly humbling and such a blessing to know that there are folks out there that want to hear what I got to say. But what my main point in talking to you about is you don't have to be as good as somebody else to get started. You can have a desire in your heart and your mind, and you can say, I'm going to take some steps to get started. If you've got a local place where they teach paper crafting skills, take some of their classes. If you can't get to something like that, I would suggest watching a few videos every day on YouTube and finding out what these wonderful ladies on YouTube, there's so many people on YouTube who are willing to share with you their knowledge. And they can, my knowledge is right now limited and piecemeal. And I know sometimes I talk like I know what I'm doing, but I really am not. I just talk that way. I had wanted to get started. Let me put my little sign up. I had it in my mind a couple of weeks ago that I wanted to go back to a stamp set that I had gotten very early in my pursuit of this craft. I got it from Tuesday Morning, and it's by Stampendous, and it's these cute little flower houses. And I'm pretty sure her name is Fran. I think she was the lady that started Stampendous. And she has a video that goes along with this. The wonderful thing about Stampendous and many other of the companies, you go on YouTube and you can find listings of them walking you through putting these sets together. And then you've got dozens and dozens and dozens of other ladies and guys who are going to give you their take on it as well. Well, this stamp set, I have labeled it Mushroom House. I don't think that was its original name. And as you may know, I'm keeping all my little bits in these CD DVD holders. But this set comes with some dies that create the mushroom. Here's some extra pieces that I cut out, and it comes with, I think I may even be lost some of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It comes with 10 stamps and 2 dies, and you are able to make some very pretty things. Now, what I have used these cards that I've made in the past is to give them away to people who've just moved into a new house, moved out, gotten married, moved into an apartment, something like that. I've used these house ones for that reason. Now, I used the dies, of course, and a few of the stamps in here. But I also used stamps from, this is like a no-name company. They are a conglomerate of people out of China who sell directly. And I think these may actually be items from a legitimate company, but these people from China are selling them for less. Now, since I've learned that, I don't purchase from them anymore because of the fact that I heard that it was kind of like a ripoff. But I did use in my card fronts here, I used this tree, I used this bird, and there is a bird missing here. That's what I'm missing, is my other cute little bird. Oh man, I will have to see if I can find him. He was a cute little bird. I used this set of stamp, yes. I also used, out of this group, I used this, kind of like a gladolia. And I used the very small grasses, and I used this tree, and there is another set. Yes, here it is. I used this little group of flowers too. I don't draw. I'm learning how to color with alcohol markers and watercolors, but I'm not really an artist. But the lady that does a lot of the designs for art impressions stamps, that's these guys here. She says, what you're doing is a work of art. So you sign it just like any other artist would do. So I started doing that because this is a unique work. I do use their elements, but this is a unique work. So I took paper, I cut out the dies. I also did stamped images for the little dormer and to the windows and the doors. I stamped those out. I fussy cut them out. I've never liked fussy cutting. However, I'm going to tell you, since I got these little keen fine scissors, and I think they're like $2.99 at Tuesday Morning. But since I have purchased these, I have found it easier to do. They're smaller, they're easier. You can take it around a curve much easier. It is sometimes about the tools that you use. Okay, so I cut out the dies. I fussy cut the dormers and the windows and the doors. I took my stamps and created banks of flowers everywhere. I created the grass. Stamp from the stampendous also had this little picket fence. I put that there. This is art impressions. It's a little bush. I'm still real iffy about doing watercolor. Now what I watercolored on this one was I made a blanket of green first. And then I watercolored in the flowers before the clouds, even before I put anything down. On this one, I did not watercolor any grass. I put my paper down first, and then I made some little outlines. I was basically going by what I've seen other people do, and that's what I did. This is watercolor. This is watercolor, and that's watercolor. And so what I did with the watercolor on these is I looked at other people's things, and it seemed like that they made the bottom of them a little bit darker. With these, with the art impressions, it is just so easy. Let me put on my glasses so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, here's the little bank of flowers. Using water-based markers. All right, I'm doing the green stems. And the blue flowers. Look at that. Can you imagine that? Let me show it to you on some. People say that alcohol-based markers will tear up your stamps. It makes them dry, causes them to crack and disintegrate. Look at that. To use water-based markers on your stamps. And that's what I did. I used Marvy color in markers. They don't have any color names on them. I use those. I also use another Marvy product called Le Plume. It has a little bit bigger brush in, and then it also has a fine tip. Glossy Accents by Ranger. I used it to drop little drops of the glossy accent on the window panes in both of these cards. Then I took this stick. It looks a little bit like a giant toothpick because I had actually put too much down, so I used it to just scoop away the glossy accents that were bleeding together. And I even went as far as doing this a couple of times on some of them. But I learned on the first ones, and then on the second ones, I put just a smaller dab, little smaller dot of the glossy accents. Then I used this tip to carefully move it around to cover the window panes. On this one, I again used not only the stampendous products, stamps and dies, but I used art impressions to make this little bush, and I used the no-name stamps here to put the tree and the birds in there. And I am greatly saddened that I have lost him, because he's the cutest little one. I used alcohol markers on these. I used watercolor and a brush on that. And then I used the water-based markers for the art impressions. But the art impressions, golly, they're so lovely. I mean, it's very impressionistic as far as the style of painting is concerned. I'm not making details. I'm trying to trick your mind into thinking, wow, that's a bank of flowers. That's a little bank of flowers. Oh, look, she's got some gladiolas going there. Okay, so I would suggest that when you're doing your cards, sign them, because they are works of art. They are a unique expression from you. So start signing your work. Now I'm going to cut these down a little bit, and I'm going to assign them a card to be a part of. Well, that concludes today's little sharing. I hope you've received something from it. If you've enjoyed listening, give me a like, please. And if you didn't like it, then, give me a thumbs down and explain yourself. I'm big. I can listen to what you got to say, and it may help me, because I don't know what I'm doing half the time. Do you realize it took me nearly all day to do 2 cards? That's how inexperienced I am in this. Because I can't sit down and say what I want to do, because I don't even know what I can do. I sit down. I usually say, Lord, you just got to help me today. And whenever the Lord helps you, you are truly helped. Thank you for spending a part of your day with me. God bless you. Bye-bye.